I'm going to do a little quick video here. This is going to help you with Project D in our sheet metal course. Project D involves a multi-row layout with transverse pitch. And after you kind of get comfortable with the single row layout, it goes pretty quickly, but when you start having to calculate transverse pitch, this is an area where I see a lot of mistakes, so I'm going to try to help you out. So we're going to start laying out from the left side to the right on the metal. We're going to be using a number 4 rivet, 4/32 or 1/8 inch in diameter. And one of the first things I'm going to do is establish my minimum edge distance. So my minimum ED would be 2D, and 2 times 4/32 would simply be 8/32. So I'm going to come from this edge. I'm going to establish my 8/32 boundary. We're putting a fence around the pasture here. Now, for the sake of brevity, I'm going to just do a 3-row layout. Often there'll be more, but once you got the concept, you can do it again and again. Now, that established my edge distance, 2D, with that number 4 rivet. Now, here's where I have to do a little calculating. This is where we're going to go for our next row over. From here to here, we need to establish our transverse pitch using our general rule. Well, the general rule is 75% of pitch. Well, the pitch on this project would be 4 diameters. So basically, 75% of 4 is 3. So once I know what my multiple is, my transverse pitch would be 3D if my pitch is 4D. Once again, I'm using a 4/32 rivet. So how could I calculate that? Well, take 3 times 4/32. We're looking dead at 12/32. So I'm going to jump over. I'm going to start from an increment. Remember, that increases accuracy. Never measure from the end of a rule. I'm going to make a mark here at 12/32. And folks, in order to do this so you can see it, I've got everything in front of me. So forgive me if I'm a little off. Then I'm going to make that row. I'll just draw a line representing where that row of rivets would go in. Now I want to come over and establish one more row. Well, once again, that same transverse pitch rule applies. 75% of pitch. If pitch is 4, 0.7 times 4 equals 3. 3 times 4/32 for my rivet diameter would simply be 12/32. I'm going to make a mark. And as accurately as I can, I'm going to make a mark. I'm going to draw that line. That'll represent my 3rd row of rivets. Now, we've almost whipped this thing, but we've got one more step to complete together. We've got to start our rows. So if we consider this the top of our material, for layout purposes, it doesn't really matter how you turn it. I'm going to measure in my minimum edge distance, which is 2D. That's 8/32. On this first row, then we would just create our pitch from there on out, which is 4 times the diameter of 4/32. So basically they'd be 16/32 or a 1/2 inch apart. So I just continue down that row, establishing that. Now, when you use transverse pitch, this row, we won't start at the same distance, and this gives people a little bit of trouble. We're going to come further off the edge because basically on transverse pitch rows, we want this center row, the first rivet, to start in the center. We're going to alternate, we're going to offset. Well, you say, well, how do you figure that one out, Jay? Well, our 2D still applies, and if it's 4D between here and here, 2 more from this mark would put us in the middle. So we'll have 2D plus 2D, which is 4 diameters. 4 times 4 30 seconds is 16 30 seconds. Then we would start laying out the rest of that row, because 16 30 seconds go, well, guess what? It's a 1/2 inch. So I can just go full half, and I won't continue the whole thing to keep this brief. Then my final row, I'm going to alternate back to my minimum edge distance, then the same thing, half, full. That's getting our 4D pitch. And guess what, folks? If you look at this first little grouping, I've got minimum edge distance from this side, minimum from here. I've got my transverse pitch, the distance between centers of rows, and I've got my offset calculated, all in that one piece. Now that's the most difficult thing about Project 1D, is getting the layout right. You're going to drill and shoot rivets the same way you've previously done it. And if this was a repair drawing and it required multiple rows, I'm just going to repeat these steps. Then lightly prick each mark, carefully drill, deburr, install that rivet, do a beautiful job shooting those rivets, and you've done great work. As always, do good work, but be safe.